All right, so I'm gonna go over really quickly the five big trades that I've got going on right now as kind of like a trade recap, and just like kind of explain why I made these trades, and why some of them aren't doing as what I wanted them to do, and just some kind of shit. So first off, we're gonna be talking about QS QuantumScape. I like the stock. I think it's got a lot of hype around it. They don't have a product right now. This sounds kind of funny. They don't have a product until 2023, so it could be a great long-term investment. But once I'm out, I'm not playing the stock anymore. It's fucking terrible. It's garbage. So here's what I liked. I entered here, right? I entered on this bounce off of the 50-day moving average. It looked really good. I probably should have waited for the MACD to cool off a little bit because, as we can see, it was continuing to downtrend around this area. So what I don't like is that it obviously broke below this level, so that's not great. But it does have support around this level, at like 42 ish, right? So we can draw that um, right here, and it touched it and it bounced back up. So the daily doesn't look good. It does have a lot of volume. You can see there's a ton of volume compared to like the red days, which is great, right? So if there's not a lot of volume on red days, it means there's not a lot of selling. It means people are holding their shares. We've got the MACD that's cooling off, so it doesn't look terrible. It doesn't look terrible. It could be a lot worse, but it doesn't look bad. And then over on the 4 hour looks a little bit better. We hit oversold. There's a lot of volume. The MACD's looking kind of weird, but you can just barely see that there's a cross, um, and it bounced off the lower Bollinger Band. So it's not terrible. I would have taken a position if I didn't have stock in this. I would have taken this a position at like 40, 45, 46 today. There's a death cross, which isn't great, but it does look like it could pull it back to at least like 60. I would like to see 60 on this, and I'll probably sell partial there, wait for hopefully 75, but if it doesn't, I'll wait for a pullback to like 58, and I'll sell at 58. I'll sell the other half at 58. So that's what I'm looking at with QuantumScape. For Root, um, Root was bad. Root was really bad. I revenge traded this one because I sold at like 22 and it went all the way up to 26, and I was like, yo, like this is gonna keep going. I really got to buy shares, and it's bad. Don't revenge trade things, people. It's not smart. But so this is. I'm just gonna go to the daily real quick. We can see that it bounced and hit this 50-day moving average, and it bounced back up. It doesn't look amazing. Like that's really the only big elevating factor. There's some selling volume. It's not oversold yet. We've got a. Here's the thing though, right? There's a lot of buying compared to the selling here. So if it can bounce off the MACD, off the signal line, it looks really good. But we don't have a cross yet, so you could see a bounce. It doesn't. So if it was like if it had crossed, I would have been a little bit more wary. But it doesn't look too bad. There was a lot of buying on this day. It wasn't just like a low volume pump. So that's what I'm seeing on the daily. On the 4 hour, we've got this bounce off the 200-day SMA. That's great. And we've got a curling MACD up. That's also great. We are 37 on the RSI, which is pretty low. It's not oversold yet, but it is pretty low. So maybe we come back and retest this 1950 level, right here. I can put a drawing in right now. I would want to see it retest that, but it doesn't look bad. We've also got this nice uh, ascending. It's like a way. It's an ascending triangle, so it doesn't look bad. I think that if we can coil up, we could possibly spring even higher than 25. We could go to pre-IPO levels, or we could go back to IPO levels. So it doesn't look bad. I'm going to keep holding this one. I think it's got some potential. As for STIC, this is a SPAC that is merging with BarkBox, and I really, really like the long-term potential of the stock. However, you can see that trading it, it's not the move. So I've got an average of like 1540 right now, and I'm probably gonna sell. It doesn't look too bad, as you can see. Like the chart's kind of hard to look at because it's so new to the market, but we've got like um, this like kind of weird like ascending triangle. It's not like a great one, um, but like yeah, it's not bad. I think we could break up if we can break this resistance at like 1580. I think we could probably gap fill all the way back up to like 1750. That'd be nice. I'd like that. You can see there's not a lot of selling. There was a little bit of selling here, but on these last couple days there hasn't been a lot of selling. And just looking at the 4 hour too, like it doesn't look great. We got a MACD slowing down, but it's still below. So I don't know. I like this one long term. I've got some in the long term, but as a trade, it's not great. KRMD. I really like this one long term trade. We can go over to Yahoo Finance and look at the statistics for it. Um, so it's not great earnings, but it's positive. Um, they make um like what do you call it, infusion stuff and like needles and stuff like that. So I think there's definitely a market for it. And then we can just look at the statistics. They've got a good operating margin of 12%. They've got a free cash flow, like a positive free cash flow. They don't have a ton of debt, which is really nice. Look at their debt to equity ratio. They have like no debt. That's great. Low float. Not a lot held by institutions. So I do really like this one. There was also some insider buys recently. Not super recently, but um, recent enough. There's just been a lot of insider buying just all throughout December. People have just been picking up shares. So I do still really like this one. In terms of the chart, though, it it broke below the 50-day moving average. That's not great. And we've got a downwards moving MACD. RSI is still in fair value, so it could pull back more. It did bounce off the lower Bollinger Band, so I'm hoping that we can pull it back a little bit from here, right? It fell under, but I mean maybe we could see a little pushback upwards. I hope. Same with this, like we fell under the 200-day moving average. However, if we do get a curl on the MACD and if we can go back up and hold it, it doesn't look terrible. Um, yeah, so that's KRMD, and then lastly, what do we have last on the list? Woof. I'm not going to really show you the chart on this one, but um, yeah, I mean, you can't really see anything from the daily. But if we just want to peek over at Corsair and to see what Corsair did. So when I said this is going to do exactly what I think Corsair did, we saw that Corsair, it opened. You're not going to see the opening day, but it had a red day, and then it had a green day, and then it just started moving up. So with Petco, had some red days in the beginning, and then it started to have some green days. So I think if we have some nice big green days, this is an engulfing candle too, by the way, where the stock opens below the close of the previous day and then closes above the open. So that's a really good bullish sign. There wasn't a ton of volume, however, which isn't great, but it doesn't look bad. I'm still gonna hold this one. I think maybe my target will be like 30. I'll sell partial at 30. But we'll see going forwards how it acts. If we gap up like massively, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see for that one. And then SOS again. A lot of people really like this stock. I've been talking to a lot of friends about it. Some bigger investors, and they say like this is just a ticking time bomb. Um, so we can see that we're holding this 200-day moving average on the 4 hour, and we cross below the 50-day moving average. So it doesn't look terrible. We've also got the MACD is curling back up, which is great. Um, and we've been holding this like $2 195 support, which isn't bad. You can see right here, like if I can put a drawing in, we've been holding this level of support recently, and we're holding these moving averages as well, right? There's not a lot of selling volume on these days either, which is great. So again, we could just looking at the histogram, you can see that there's a lot more buying than there is selling just previously. Um, so if we hopefully we do get a bounce off the MACD. But that's what I've been mainly playing recently. There's a couple other things that I like. PRPH is one. Um, I do really like this one. This is like another one of those 52-week high pullback plays. I think it found support at this level. Like you can see right here, right here. Right, there's a good amount of support here, and I do think we're around this 50-day moving average. It doesn't look terrible. It might be a little premeditated, but it doesn't look bad at all. And then Ampy was another one I was long Ampy. And this is another one we can see it held this. I really like this because it held this 50-day moving average and pumped up, and it does look like it could continue. There's not a lot of volume, but it doesn't look bad at all. So yeah, so those were the trades that I've been looking at over the last couple of days. Yeah, and I just wanted to give you guys my explanation for why I was holding them.